Live from New York, it's Ask a Whole Bunch of Engineers.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Ask Engineer. It's me, Ladyada, the engineer, and with me are a bunch of my friends visiting the Adafruit factory here in downtown Manhattan. We've got with us Tony DeCola, Eric Pan, Massimo, and friends from both Seed.
Eric and Juan and Massimo, and then
Claudio.
Claudio, okay.
So we have a full party here for the pre-Maker Faire party, I guess.
Like half the open source in the world is made by all these entities right here.
So we got an exciting show for tonight, so get your questions ready. If you've got questions for Eric and Massimo, this is your chance, or Tony DeCola if you want, just because whatever, he's hanging out. Well, it got so much going on. Why don't you tell me about tonight's show?
Glad you asked. On tonight's show, Seed Studio will be stopping by. So that means we have a discount code. Discount code SEED. 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, except for gift certificates and software. Code is SEED. Ladyada will talk about what's on the show and tell. Pack the mailbag will stop by. Adafruit jobs board. Time travel. Wearables. 3D printing. Got some Pi news. Got new products. We're going to answer your question. We're going to have a trivia question. All that and more on an action-packed show of Ask an Engineer. Oops.
That one, yeah. Nice little ears.
All right. Okay, so let's take care of some logistics real fast. Again, the code is SEED. That's with 3 E's. Maybe we'll ask about that. Why 3 E's?
Why 3 E's?
It's a mystery. And then our usual stuff. We've got the free UPS shipping for $200 or more, the free Perma Proto at $99. And for all the folks in New York City tomorrow who are panicking because it's Maker Faire, and you forgot to pick up an Arduino.
You need some parts to fix your project.
We do same day. In fact, today there was a panic. Someone bought a 3D printer and it went out the same day.
Was it like legit? Like they needed it? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they were like, we need a we
need a 3D printer in 2
hours.
Our
Maker Faire project is due by Saturday, and our 3D printer that we shipped out didn't arrive, and we need to start printing. On Thursday.
They do need to get same day because it takes 2 days to print.
Yeah, okay. So they couldn't wait.
Okay.
So we
have
to do that. Yeah.
Somebody will deliver it to you.
Yeah. Another reminder, if you're in the New York City area, we're doing the Micro Center meetup with Atmel, or also known as Dialogue as of today. I guess they got acquired. So we're going to be there. This is a truck meet. This is Atmel Man, and this is Adafruit. So we're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be showing some wearable electronics. We're going to have...
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Tony D will be there.
Yeah. We'll be showing off projects with the Arduino Gemma. Okay. That's actually one of the things.
There you go.
Which is...
an Atmel chip.
Which is available at Micro Center.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone out there is watching and there's not a Maker Faire near them, there might be a Micro Center, and you can check out some of the things that Adafruit makes. We're now in stores. So in the US, Radio Shack didn't really work out. Micro Center is one of the few best remaining retailers out there that have like DIY electronics. So we're going to be in the parking lot with the Atmel truck.
Yep.
And you and I aren't allowed to drive semis, apparently.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Hang out next to the car.
Okay. All right, Ladyada, can you go over the show and tell what was on?
Yes.
Go through them fast.
I will go through them fast.
We got the whole crew here.
We start off with Noah and Pedro from Adafruit Southeast. We showed off a couple of 3D printed projects. We'll be here in Manhattan for Maker Faire this weekend. So see them videoing, and maybe they'll do a video update. They're working on a 3D printed wasp helmet from the movie Ant-Man. There's a character called the Wasp, and they're making a helmet for a costume. They're also doing a motorized slider project using Bluetooth Low Energy, and they're making a Pi tablet using the new Raspberry Pi 7-inch capacitive touchscreen. Chris Young came by and he published a tutorial on the Learning Guide about how to make a battery-backed up buzzer that uses an Arduino Micro and XB so he can notify his dad when he wants to hang out. So he wanted to make it so it wasn't dependent on wall power. He made a version with a Power Boost 1000C and a backup battery, so it would automatically do the backup battery when the power's out. And he published a tutorial called Printy Boost. Check it out in the learning system. Aiden, who's been doing a lot of soft robotics, is getting excited to show up at Maker Faire New York, and he built a soft robotic backpack with a diaphragm and 2 solenoids, and he's going to be showing off some cool, large, soft robotic actuators. So see him at Maker Faire New York. Bill is modifying his 3D printer to be able to print with ABS plastic. ABS plastic is a lot more difficult than PLA because you need to have a higher temperature to prevent warping. And if he has a heated bed, he still has to make sure that the 3D printer body is enclosed so you can get high temperatures, because you need that high temperature, 120 degrees. And he was able to do it by using an aerogel blanket. So he says it's a low-cost way to basically add thermal insulation to your 3D printer. Check out his Instructable. Jackson has a particle photon, and it's a Wi-Fi microcontroller, and he also has a Pebble watch. He wanted them to talk to each other, so he basically wrote an app for Pebble that communicates through Bluetooth to his phone, to the internet, and then back to his particle, so he can control his evil villain lair using just his watch, so he can be like, deploy sharks and press a button on his watch, and it'll go on the internet and then tell his particle to deploy the sharks with lasers, I'm assuming. Awesome project. Scotty showed off a floppy disk player with 8 notes, 8 floppy disks that can play MIDI tracks. He's going to be showing it off at Maker Faire Milwaukee. He also has an EL wire plus Arduino plus Bluetooth Low Energy module setup that has patterns that you can control from his phone. So he can have this really cool blanket thing with EL wire, and it like does cool effects and it looks neat. And then C. Scott came by and showed off his monophonic MIDI CV 4-channel module for his modular series. He's doing a series of low-cost modulars because everybody wants to be in the modular synth business. That's our show and tell.
That's right. All participants on the show and tell get an As Seen on the Show and Tell sticker. Normally right now I would tell you how to join the show and tell, but apparently we have so many participants in the show and tell right now that we can't add more people and do an invite. So we are going to figure this out and email Google and ask, can we get an exception, because we have, I guess, over a limit.
We got over 500 people, so now it's, or whatever the limit is. We used to, not all of them show up at once. We want to just invite them. Yeah. But you know what's funny is because we've had a lot of problems where the invite goes out and people are like, I didn't get the invite. Yeah. What's probably ironic is Google said, well, it's not working sometimes, so we're just going to make it so you can't send out the invites at all.
That's one way to fix it.
That's how they fix it. They're like, we're just removing that capability.
So
because they're jerks.
We'll see. No, we'll see how it goes.
No, they're lovely people who just don't want to fix the bug.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. And worst case, just look for the link when the show and tell is happening on the event page, and we'll get you into the show and tell. That's working out so far. Anyways.
Ideally, also, if you post on when you blog up on Tuesday or Wednesday, on the Google Plus, and you have the AdaBot saying like, hey, comment here to get added to the show and tell circle. Comment there, and we'll absolutely make sure that you get invited. So comment there and say, hey, I would like to show up a project this week, and we'll manually invite. Well, look, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah. This is all free services, folks. Okay. So next up, I usually do the Help Wanted where we read from the Adafruit Jobs Board, but I'm going to do something a little bit different even before we introduce our guests. So you're both have fantastic companies, and you're both always looking for people to join your companies. So Massimo, is there any particular job that Arduino is looking for right now for someone out there? Is there any type of job applications or people that are great that you'd like to join Arduino?
Yeah, but I'm going to talk about it on Saturday at Maker Faire.
Will you send us what you're looking for, and we'll post it up on the jobs board? Okay.
But there's going to be an announcement on Saturday.
Wow. So this is
news.
This is news.
You know, the thing is, you can never actually ask a CEO of a company because they'll always say, well, I would like to replace myself so I can go on vacation.
Yeah. I am actually
looking
forward to replacing myself.
Yes. Every company owner says that.
Well, that's big news, because if you like doing open source software, open source hardware, if you like doing things in the world of electronics, there might be an amazing job waiting for you.
On Saturday.
Saturday is when we make the announcement, and then I will also give you the list.
Okay.
So
I got this Adafruit thing going, but maybe we can talk. Maybe I can.
Hey,
No, it's fine. My
Hey.
my boss is super demanding. So, so Eric, do you have any jobs that you're looking to fill for
So
Seed
it's-
right now?
It's very interesting that I listed a job post like documentation and tutorial freelancers on Adafruit jobs.
Yeah, I still have that from the jobs board from a while ago. Are you still looking for people
We're
that?
still looking and we are still receiving resumes from that.
okay, great.
Yeah, so and we keep looking for people like that, and
Okay.
also we want more designers and product managers who are willing to join us.
Okay.
Okay.
And you have a presence in the U.S. and San Francisco. So,
right.
can people work remote? Could they also be in the San Francisco area?
Yeah, they can be in San Francisco area, and then they can also work remotely.
Okay. I know this is top secret and you can't say anything more, but is it the job, is it in the US? Is it on the planet? Maybe
It's in space.
AP based in the US.
US.
yes.
Okay, that's
Okay,
pretty
US
good.
jobs.
All right. Well, everyone should continue to apply on the jobs board, adafruit.com/jobs, and then Saturday will be the big news. I'll send in my application.
Hey.
Let's get how it goes. All right, so let's get on with the show. And yes, so this is a really special episode of Ask an Engineer. This is the first time that I know of that you've both been on the show. Massimo's been on the show. You visited Adafruit about 5 years.
5 years ago.
Yeah, when we were in an apartment.
Yeah.
And you now have more Erics. Congratulations. So you got that
Yep.
going on. So let's do some introductions here. Why don't you MC a
Okay,
little bit?
can we start with Tony D? Just
Yeah.
I feel bad, like Tony's like hanging out here and being like,
Yeah.
this is great.
Go for it.
All right, here, I'll go. You can do it. So,
Yeah, yeah,
Tony,
totally.
just introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I'm an engineer at Adafruit. I've been on show and tell a bunch of times, and I'm out here just working on things. And I'll actually be Maker Fair this weekend too. So Saturday and Sunday, just hanging out, checking out everything. So doing all kinds of fun projects.
Okay, cool. All right, Eric.
So let me explain why there are 3 years in seed. We finally figured out this year. Because
One is for Eric.
because we are doing so many things, and by the way, when you summarize it, it's from prototype to produce to promote.
Okay.
The 3 words ends with E, so
That's
it's
the 3.
E's. And we finally come back to New York. We used to come to New York every year for Open Hardware Summit and New York Maker Fairs. But we are totally excited to bring back what we have, and also we want to show off to people what we have done for Refone, the modular phone you are planning later.
Okay.
So come to visit us.
Okay. And are you going to have a presence at Maker Fair? Or you,
Yeah, we
or,
have
you,
a
or you,
booth
you have a
in
booth?
the-
Okay.
It's in the Maker Pavilion.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yep.
See, Lamore and I are old now, and we've been doing Maker Fair for 10 years. So now we go to be audience, and then we cover it for the blog, so we're a media sponsor.
We don't have a booth.
We don't have. We don't.
Wow.
Yeah, we used to be in the shed. We were Maker Shed,
We were, yeah.
and we did workshops. So now we like to go meet all the makers, because that's the only thing that's a challenge at Maker Fair is if you're at a booth, you don't get to see all the
Yeah.
makers. Then I was gonna say, Massimo it has probably the same challenge. So.
Yeah, I can see a little bit when I'm here in New York.
Yeah.
And when I'm in Rome, I basically don't see anything.
Okay.
You're like Italian hero.
And Eric, these folks don't have mics, so maybe you can
Yes.
tell us what they do.
Sure. Because I don't want to be trapped in the booth like you guys, so I bring biggest team ever to New York.
Okay.
And among them, we have Eric Chen with us, who is a VP for productizing for
Okay.
makers. And then we have our COO, which is Wang, who helped me to get rid of all the management work so I can focus on products and come to the
Okay.
community.
Okay.
That's great. And when we gave you a tour, we talked a lot about some of the operational things. So that was fun. So it's neat to talk to other companies who have similar challenges: shipping, inventory, logistics, components, all that. So it was nice to talk. It was nice to share some of the things that we do with you, Wong, as well. And then you said Eric does the productization for the makers. So if a maker has a product, how do they get that to a bigger market? Is
That's
that what you do? Okay. So the Maker Fair is a very good place. Yeah, that's all. These are all things that people want to do. What we're starting to see is makers they have very good ideas, they have very good products, but the distribution and the logistics and being able to get them out is the thing that they say. They say, well, I don't want to build a big company.
Yep.
Like a Seed or a Adafruit or a SparkFun or Arduino. They just want to make the products.
Yep.
So I think Seed's in a very good spot for that because people know you for your products and you have packaging and you have logistics. So I think that'll be
I'm
pretty
looking
neat.
forward to become the service layer for the makers.
Yeah.
So they can do like self-efficient or like a family business.
Yeah.
Just enjoy making.
Hardware as a
without-
service, as they say.
That's right.
Yeah.
manufacturer as a service.
Excellent, excellent. All right, that could be the fourth E. No, no. All right, and Massimo, you've been on the show, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm the co-founder of Arduino and also currently also CEO, although looking forward to replacing myself with somebody else.
Okay.
And
that's what you're going to put on the job board.
That's the news.
Maybe not. That's a little bit more tricky. But yeah, so it's interesting. I've been here a number of times when the show was with less technical equipment.
Yeah.
We have 2 monitors now.
Yeah. I think the first time you were on the show, we were still using the free web camera and it was plugged into the shipping station. So we stopped shipping. And then we ran the cable.
And you were using Ustream, I think.
Yeah, we still use Ustream, and now we also use YouTube. So, what are the things that you're doing at Maker Faire? Because you've got a lot going on. Besides the big announcement about something, what are you doing at Maker Faire?
Well, I have a talk. I'm part of a panel at MakerCon on Thursday, tomorrow, and then I have a talk on Saturday at 1 or 1:30. I can never remember the exact timing. Which is the usual sort of state of Arduino 20-minute, 25 minutes talk I give at both Maker Fairs. So that's my main thing. And then I'm going to try to see something at the Maker Faire for once.
Okay. And then you brought another person from the Arduino team this time. This is
Claudio is an electronics engineer and one of the product designers.
Okay. Fantastic. And what things have you been working on, Claudio? The latest Arduinos, secret, as well as secret stuff?
There's one secret product.
Okay, secret stuff. Okay, so tomorrow, so Saturday, everything you're working on will be revealed.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
and one of the other reasons that this is an interesting show is because right now there's Ladyada, Adafruit, there's Eric and Seed, and Massimo Arduino, and the
big three.
The 2 companies right now that at the recent Maker Faire that was announced. So Seed, you're making Genuinos, and Adafruit's making Arduinos.
Yep.
So can you talk maybe a little bit about that, Massimo, about the differences and who's making what, for the folks that are just tuning in and say, what's an Arduino, what's a Genuino?
Yeah, so, well, so we, in the last year, I guess, we spent a lot of time redesigning the way we do manufacturing. And so we reorganized a lot of that because that being, I guess, facts that are known to a lot of the people that follow this show. And so we took also the chance to kind of try to look at manufacturing from a geographical point of view. So we started to work with Adafruit on manufacturing products, the basic Arduino products, which are the Arduino Uno, Mega, the Micro, and the Starter Kit in the US. So they're made here.
Yeah,
and
New York.
Shipped out.
Yep.
And that was a really funny video you guys made with like the American flag and the rotating Arduino.
Yeah, very patriotic.
But we're Americans.
Very, very patriotic.
And then we got a takedown notice.
The only thing that was missing is like a shotgun or something.
Yeah. Very American.
Okay, that's a different
Jets and Eagles.
That's a different kind of America.
Yeah.
And then obviously the next logical step was to look at Asia, and I think nobody understands that market better than Eric.
Yeah.
So we sort of start talking, and so one of the issues that we have while we are resolving this kind of legal issues, we have to use a different name outside of the US. So this is back in California, we announced the creation of this new kind of sister brand called Genuino. And then in June, when I was in Shenzhen, we announced that Seed Studio is manufacturing the Genuino, and I believe you have a picture.
We do. We actually have these boards in, and congratulations, they're beautiful, and they're shipping.
Yeah.
Two most important things. And so, by the way, Eric and Seed, if you guys want to use these photos, feel free to. We took them. They're nice photos.
Yes, sir.
Feel free to.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to sell them, so you may as well take them. So these are the Genuino.
So what happens if you see
Unos.
the Genuino logo has been now added to the Arduino products, which is something
And this
we
one's made in
originally
China.
we were actually originally designed that little logo as the genuine Arduino logo. So our plan was to put it on our product to try to make it easier for people to figure out the products made by us versus the kind of the clones, the fake ones. But now we kind of combine with this brand.
What is the plus and the I and the check, and what do those mean?
I think that when Giorgio, our designer, came up with that, his idea was that the plus and the minus are from the Arduino logo, but the I and the check is like, keep an eye on this thing, and if you see this thing, then check. It's
Check it
kind
out.
of
Okay.
the idea was that if you see this, then check. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we also sort of redesigned again with Giorgio and his company. We redesigned the graphics for all the products. So if you go to the previous slide, you can see that.
Yeah, this
We
box is a
read-
little different.
So we redesigned the graphics for the box, and so actually this is something I'm gonna show in the near future. We actually came up with a whole different graphics for Arduino and Genuino. So the graphics gonna be different from what you've seen up until now, but then the difference will just be the logo basically. But it also we wanted to refresh a little bit the design, and since there's a lot of tendency to go to extreme minimalism in design right now,
Yeah.
Giorgio kind of had this idea actually make it more colorful and have more shapes, and there's a whole kind of debate that went on behind the design.
Designers love to debate.
Yes, and I love to,
their
and I
favorite
love
thing.
to debate with Giorgio.
Yeah.
And so we have this interesting debate.
One of the cool things too is, so Seed's already making and shipping the micro, and the micro is something that like we all talked about a while ago, and this is a lot of different open source companies still doing stuff together,
yeah,
which
look
is
at the
really
logo
neat.
at the back.
Yeah, so this is neat to see. So where Adafruit isn't known in China yet, but it's neat to see Genuino shipping a micro, and it's something that from a long time ago we had collaborated with Arduino. So it's neat to see these things. And when people always ask like, why do open source hardware? Well, your stuff can go to different areas of the world, and it can get in the hands of people who maybe would never have seen it before. And those are new customers that maybe we don't know about, or they'll get introduced, or they'll say, this is a cool thing. What's an Adafruit? What's a Genuino? What's Seed? What's this? So anyways, this is kind of neat. And then you're also, Eric, you got the Megas. You're shipping now too. So you guys are zooming.
Yeah, I would say that it's interesting because Seed Studio is incredibly fast.
Yeah, why are you
It's
guys so
ve-
fast?
It's,
Well,
very, it's very hard to keep up with them. They're just
let's ask a question. Why are you guys so fast?
I think first we are based on the supply chains. We are in the middle of the supply chains, so we get in samples, we get the prototyping. It's very easy, and we have enough engineers so they can iterate their jobs, and we are also trying to be more demanding so they can work fast.
Gotcha. So if you can disclose, how many people work at Seed right now?
Now we have 300.
Wow.
So it's a management nightmare, but at least we can get some very key projects going
Yeah.
in full speed.
And what would you say a majority of the people do out of the 300? Like
It's
maybe
kind of
similar to
standard,
Adafruit.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe very similar. Like we have like 40, 50 engineers.
Okay.
Like sales and marketing, there are more than 40 as well. And the manufacturing, they are less than 50.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of standard of all kinds of positions.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't used to do manufacturing, but now you do, right? Is it the manufacturing line is
We
new?
always do manufacturing, but we try to outsource as much as possible. For small quantities, we now have agile manufacturing center, which only do small bench, like for several thousands.
Yeah.
If we now we just outsource to our peripheral contract manufacturers.
Yeah. Okay. So
It's
that's
more
how.
dynamic and more flexible for me.
Yeah, and for us, we have, I guess I'd say we have a similar thing. Like we'll do a high mix of products, so like 50 or 100 of something, or 200, or even 1,000, and then after that, that's when we might work with partners
Yep.
and do other things, so we can continue to keep moving fast.
That's right.
And so with you being like right in the middle of the supply chain, you just have access to all the different components, the different things like injection molding, you can packaging. So that's probably why you're fast.
Yeah, that's right.
Good answer.
So we have been trying to like service of manufacturing one new product in 24 hours.
Wow.
So we get we send out the PCB order. We can get it half a day. During that, we prepare the components, train the team, so they can just assemble as long as the components are in place.
Okay.
So I think it's always possible, but now we look at the maker's demand and to redesign the whole process to cater to it.
Gotcha. And do you work with any of the hardware accelerators that are out there? Because there's a bunch of them.
Yeah,
and
there are too many.
Yeah, how many?
They're getting too many.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I thought you said 120, and I'm like, that sounds right, 120. But that's one of the things that you see now is accelerate hardware.
Yeah.
You know, like take your idea and we'll do things. And so some of the companies that do contract manufacturing, like a PCH or a AQS or a what's another one that has a? There's a lot of them.
Flextronics.
Yeah, everyone has a
GE First Build, like there's
Yeah, and so if someone wanted to have their idea, maybe they talk to you, Eric. Like one of the Erics. What do they do if they want to take their idea from maybe one prototype to market?
I think it's the same as you guys are doing your own product. We need the files or the BOM or the Gerbers like that. But it's more about communication. What kind of test plans you need to prepare? How about the test jigs you need? And I think we are talking totally different from PCH or Foxconn or other players. They are for the startups. They are for the top of the pyramids.
They want to have an acquisition
They
later.
want 500,000 units, not 1,000.
Yeah.
That's right.
They want to be Nest.
But our focus is on helping people to manufacturing from 100 to 1,000, no more than 10,000 pieces. We think that in the middle, there are some kind of independent product needed. They just stay there, they just make some fun things for a very niche market or very beginning market.
Yeah. Some more experimentation.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta ask though, but like most makers have no idea how to manufacture. How do you get files that are good?
So we are trying to open source manufacturing. We call it design from manufacturer, because design from manufacturer is for big companies. They can demand the factories, but for the makers, we need to look at what's the existing components, what's the existing processes, and where the open source is playing a very critical role for people. They can share the overhead, like they can use very popular chipsets, like everybody use 8 mega 328 now. So if they are basing on the similar solutions, the bill materials, they are usually very achievable in small volume. So they don't need to worry about logistics. We have the similar components in our warehouse. And but
like they don't know how to write, like a lot of makers have made one. Making one product is very easy. But once you get to 1,000, suddenly your yield plummets because it turns out that their firmware didn't account for the temperature variations, the resistor variations. What do you do when they say, okay, well, you made 1,000, but only 500 work because, whatever, some mistake on the designer's part. Who fixes it?
We have an engineering team. We do the DFM with makers, and we will share the experiences with them. Like you need to redesign this a little bit to make sure it fits all the requirements. But manufacturing for small volume is always risky on the, quality side.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of communication back and forth, and that's why we have our portal, our branch office in California, because we want to, we see the manufacturer is more like a service. As a service, it should be approximate to customers. So we bring the manufacturer from Shenzhen to the front of the makers, so they can just come to talk with us. It's better if they can work with us. To eat their own dog food and feel the pains. They can change the test plans and to improvise to fix it on the fly.
Gotcha.
And whenever it's ready, they work with us to manufacture from like several dozens or 100. It's usually ready to manufacture in several thousands. So it's like doing the stage altogether.
What is one of the most successful projects that you've manufactured from a maker?
I think the most sustainable, most potential one is Explorer.
Okay.
It's a Spanish maker. He just using some on-shelf aluminum enclosure to make the enclosure. We have some CNC drill of the holes to have buttons, and we use very ready PCB and the existing modules to the RF part. So it's working, and it's a very niche market, but it's for a lot of vertical customers. And we have been selling for 4 to 5 years. And the volume is keep growing, and he's keeping having new products, and he's still one man's army.
Oh wow, that's great.
So it's possible. It's possible to do it. He has to communicate well with you about here's the requirements to keep this enclosure. Because a lot of people, like the problem is they build one. They say, well, I went to eBay and I bought a case. And now you're like, well, I don't know where to buy 500 cases.
When you hunt all over the world.
A custom aluminum case costs $10,000, but if you can get off the shelf, but then now you have to have off the shelf, but then
right.
the factory may not exist, or maybe they went out of business, or maybe there's variations. It's a millimeter less, and now it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So all of these experiences that you've had, you have a big list of check off.
That's right.
Hopefully the list is long enough. It must be this long, very long list.
We're trying to squeeze it a bit, so because people can design from open hardware, it can save a lot of energy on every details.
Yeah.
And also, it's also about the pace. Like if you are a company who just raised some money and you need to get it out next month for 100,000 pieces, that's impossible.
Yeah.
We need to start slow, start small, but keep it going. Have enough iterations. Unless you can go have some foundings and go, oh, I want to change the world now.
Yeah.
So it needs more patience and enough communication.
Yeah.
All right, this is exciting. So Massimo, when you were looking for local partners for each area, what does Arduino look for? Like, let's say if there's another manufacturer in another country that's not the U.S. or Asia right now, what do you look for?
Australia.
What do you look for in a manufacturing partner? Because you're in a different situation. You have to come up with a product that maybe millions of people are going to have one day. So you have to make the ecosystem.
Yeah.
You're not making.
I mean, we have the ecosystem. I mean, the fact that the hardware that we design sells because we have the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
The software, the platform, the documentation, the tutorials, and all of that.
Yeah. People know it's going to work.
It's what makes the hardware sell, because there used to be AVR development boards before Arduino happened.
Yeah.
And they were nowhere near successful. So what's really key there is that designing the ecosystem and working with the right partners. Clearly, for us in the manufacturing selection, it's sort of easy because we know we have friends we can work with. We don't have to wake up one day and go, oh my God, now who's gonna make this? No,
Gotcha.
We know a lot of people, so obviously we made 2 phone calls. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
And we have 2 continents figured out, and we're now working with some people we collaborate with in Europe to do the same. So to manufacture some of the products for Europe, made in Europe. But in general, clearly, we like to work with people that share our ideas. So,
clearly
the people in this room all understand and like
folks
and
who
support
publish open source
hardware, the people who really contribute to this community. Because I think it's a cycle where, yes, you can extract in a way value from the community if you put value into the community,
Yeah.
So
I mean, we wouldn't be doing this unless Ladyada wrote all this code and made libraries and that turned into hardware.
We do not do this kind of contract manufacturing for anybody else. We don't. We really don't do it. This is a very unique exception. Just want to make sure people don't say, hey, I'm going to call Ladyada and be like, make my thing. This is not call Eric, not me. I don't do this.
Well, that question came up. They said, is Adafruit going to do more manufacturing like they do for Arduino? And the answer is no. We're going to say you should talk to Seed. You should talk to other partners who want to do that. This was
because we only have 2 or 3 engineers, not 80.
Yeah.
So I can't. It's actually
we have one Ladyada, and she's good.
But not that good.
Yeah.
For us, it's also a situation where we both of our partners, we not only manufacture, we don't do pure manufacturing, we also work on what's the next thing we're gonna make, or can we take this product that we were making before and make it simpler, cheaper, different, better. So we need to work with people that understand exactly what we do, but also want to work on these kind of products together. It's not just here's the files, make it.
Okay. All right, so that's one type of business model. There's the manufacturing business model. There's the ecosystem business model. There's the one where maybe it's a maker that has a short run they want to do. And there's, of course, the crowdfunding route that people can go. And Seed is doing a Kickstarter. And we actually have the video, and I thought I'd play it so folks can see it. and you're doing pretty well. You're almost hitting your goal. Did you check today already?
Yeah, I check it out like every 10 minutes.
Every 10 minutes? Okay,
Well, hopefully your Refone tells you when you've hit a goal. Like you have it telling you.
I will do that for the next revision.
Okay.
The next one.
All right, let's see this video.
Yeah, let me find it. It is. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Refone, the world's first open-source modular phone kit that allows you to easily create your own mobile phone.
With Refone, you can also enchant things with cellular connectivity.
Remember, mobile phones used to be very different and are constantly evolving. Nowadays, the bulky rectangular touchscreen phones all look the same. What we need is another renaissance. What if we redesign the phone to be anything we want it to be? For the past 8 years in Shenzhen, Seed Studio has been busy hacking the electronic supply chain to make advanced tools and technologies available to everyone. The result is the Refone. The heart of the Refone is a GSM module, featuring the world's smallest computer on a chip that easily fits to anything. Give your Refone life by adding a touchscreen, audio, GPS, NFC motion sensor, camera, a single eye display, and many other cool modules. Just plug modules together using flexible NFC strips. Once connected, you can send texts and make calls, and even program your own logic. Update your settings with a simple text. And the full power SDK, Lua, and JavaScript are ready for developers. Next, give your Refone a body by using the pre-cut craft paper. Play with different design patterns to make a phone unique to you. Or consider leather, bamboo, fabric, or existing objects, even create a sturdy case using 3D printing, laser cutting, CNC, or injection molding. Imagine making a call to your dog by adding a GSM and GPS module to the dog collar.
Peter, come back home now.
Program your Refone with if this then that logic so your dog never gets lost. Or add gyros and GSM modules to a kite and talk to the sky. Or send messages to control your robots remotely. Talk to a door, desk, bike, or tree. We partnered with incredible people, organizations, and companies around the world to bring the Refone to you.
We're proud to bring Refone to the world and excited to see what you will come up with. Please join us by backing this project and let's begin the renaissance of phones.
Make your call.
Okay, so this is it, and so far so good. I think you're already halfway to the goal. I think past halfway.
Yeah, we already finished the goal.
You already finished the goal. Okay, wow, that was
So
fast.
it's a very humble goal.
Okay, that's very good. And so it's called
Stay humble.
It's called Refone,
Yeah.
and the goal is to be able to reinvent the phone. So all phones are kind of boring now. They're all the same.
Yeah.
Not a lot of innovation and personal things that you can do. And so what are some of the things that you imagine that people might build or do with this?
So I think there are 3 layers, 3 stages. First stage, they will just cut, because it's a kit, they come up with to build it into a complete thing and redesign enclosures with paper, with everything around them. And the second stage is they can change the functionalities. So it's not only using for people. You can use it for things around you, like your dog, like your desks, your door, your bikes. So it's actually a very easy to use Internet of Things kit. But we are more interested to see the stage 3, that designers with our engineering background can now design their own mobile phones. And we can help them to make a sellable product in small volume.
Okay.
So they can give people much more options than existing things.
Okay, and you're the maker of an ecosystem, an entire platform, and Arduino has Cell Shield. And so what are some of the things that you would suggest that people make or explore if they can take, an open cell phone module and something like the power of Arduino, because this is Arduino compatible? Like what type of things have you seen that haven't been made or that you've seen made that?
Well, clearly, the work that they're doing on the phone, I think, in a way resonates the work we're doing with this intelligent module system, because there are some similarities. Actually, I would love to try to make it compatible in a way that we create an ecosystem where we move on from like the shield to really reusable
So all these
components.
work together, yeah.
Because,
Doesn't-
I think one of the trends that I've seen is that the electronics is going towards strong modularization. More and more things that you would use to build a device will come in small modules, the same way you now buy the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth module. You'll probably buy modules that contain other parts that you can basically assemble on a PCB. Also, I think one of the things that's going to happen with hardware is that it's going to become a little bit like fast fashion, where you have to have new products every season. So the problem is that in order to create a lot of products very quickly, you need to modularize them, and move a little bit forward from just putting all the parts on the PCB. So I think a tool like this is very powerful because you can create products, and you can really, create tools and products for a specific niche. I think that there are markets that are really interesting, but they don't have the volume that you would need to get a big company interested in. But a smaller company that can use more modular electronic like this, and if you can create the tools that make it simple to compose these modules, then you can really attack some of these interesting niches.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who understand these particular niches, they're not electronics engineer, they don't really understand embedded programming at the level that will allow them to design something from scratch. But in a modular ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah, with the things that Arduino is working on and then this, over the last few years we've seen a couple attempts, but it just wasn't ready yet. Like, so Bug Labs is something that I was thinking about. It was like Java, and it was very heavy, and you had to use Eclipse. And it was the right track, and like a lot of progress happened. But now, like, these are relatively inexpensive, right? Like, these if you destroy it because you put it on your dog, it's not going to be a $500 dev kit. It's going to be like, what's the
core module is just $12, and combined with some accessories, it should be below $100.
Yeah, so it's like not the end of the world. That's the way we always think about some of the Arduino projects. If it's used for like agriculture, or like we've seen like a hawk's nest where like it will tweet you when the hawk lands. It's not the end of the world if the hawk takes off with it. Like, it's okay. Like, maybe you need to get a GPS next time.
Okay.
So.
But I think this opens the door also to another way of looking at electronics. There's one way where you have a powerful processor with an operating system, so people like use a Raspberry Pi and have like dumb, let's call it, peripherals. Or this model where you have distributed computing on your PCB. So each component has a little bit of computing capability.
Yeah.
So you get the power by the collaboration of these processors on a bus versus having, your Linux board and the peripherals attached to it. So it's a different philosophy. It's different. I guess people who are used to a conventional model of programming, they prefer to have their own Linux box.
They want a small computer, yeah.
They just push stuff into the Linux box. But I guess we can start to work on, for example, for our modules, we worked on a visual environment where people draw lines between the kind of physical, the virtual representation of these physical modules.
Yeah.
So they compose the functionality by kind of drawing lines between the modules. And so in a way, and that creates all the sort of messages between the different modules. But in a way, you abstract what's going on. And I think these more and more devices will be made, they're already made by a lot of processors talking to each other, but this will probably become, you already start to see some electronic components that have processors inside.
Yeah.
So there are accelerometers who have a Cortex M0 in the accelerometer. So you will see more and more sensors that will come with a microcontroller in the sensor.
Yeah, like you've been doing some new boards that there's a microcontroller in them. You don't need a separate one.
Yeah, definitely. Like the BNO 055, you can actually reprogram the core chip with new firmware as it comes out, and that's kind of neat because it's like when they designed the sensor, they're like, well, we're probably going to have better firmware going forward. So like we're starting to see modules that are so teeny, but they have processors inside of them, and also like we use like a Nordic chipset. And normally you would get something that does Bluetooth Low Energy or whatever Wi-Fi, and it's just like raw silicon. But now it's getting cheap enough that the chip itself can do Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and has a reprogrammable core. That's kind of nice, especially since like people are kind of agreeing like, okay, let's go with the ARM Cortex chipset, low power chipset, and so like the code that people write can run on like the module itself or like a separate module or whatever.
Okay.
And also all these chipsets, they seem to have Arduino compatible APIs now.
It's kind of
because
the
even,
default.
You know, the Nordic chip
Yeah.
has an Arduino version on it. The ESP,
Yeah, 286,
Wi-Fi.
yeah.
That's open
has-
source hardware. Like you don't have to do it. Somebody's already done it for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep
Yeah.
funneling some questions. So one of the questions was, why did you do Kickstarter? Because you could just make it
Manufacture.
and sell it. Like
Yeah.
why go through and film a video and go through all the stuff?
Because I think it's a very much challenge for ourselves. We want to push forward the boundary of makers. So we want to lower the barrier so everyone, designers, consumers, they can just come in. Because people are interested in mobile phones. This makes them easier to understand about the whole thing of makings. They can just very easily get some powerful results. Then they start to understand why and how to make more customized things.
Okay.
So,
Hey, do you want to show it on the overhead?
What? Do you have one?
Do you
with
want to? Yeah. we can-
It's in the back.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you go grab one and we'll keep doing
Yeah,
questions.
We have this overhead camera. I want to.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
People always ask, "Show
Yeah.
me the thing."
And then as far as the timeline, when are you expecting the first one to start shipping?
The current one, the first batch will be shipping in October.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so-
fast.
So we are finalizing all the details. We are collecting inputs from the maker, from the Kickstarter bankers. So we'll like cook them according to needs and put it onto the table.
Wow. So
I mean, you don't
that'll-
have to look for a manufacturer because you can, it's like
already
there's
done.
6
It's in
months
house.
of time. Yeah, because you're like, well, we already know where to get the components and we're going to get them and we have the test procedure in place. So it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, and MediaTek is known for their cell modules.
Yep.
How did they contact you? Because it looks like this is
We-
this is something they're a partner. They say
Yep.
they're interested in it.
So we have been talking with them for quite a while because we see since we are in Shenzhen, there are so many supply chain we can hack. So we just look at the consumer electronics and to reuse their components for the makers. So MediaTek is of course one of the target we have been preparing for quite a while. Now they are interested in seeing more new devices coming out.
Yeah.
So that's why they are willing to collaborate, and we tried with Naked One, which starts last year, and we kind of keep pushing the boundary and to make it small enough so people can just use it with very less difficulties.
Yeah.
And how do they feel? Oh, great. How do they feel about open source hardware and open source software? Are they okay with it?
They're okay with it, but they cannot reveal all the details, so they can just start to give some SDK. People can start to play with it.
So you can basically, you can't run code right on the chip, but you can plug in with their.
It has open the SDK. You can use Eclipse to change it, but we also ramp it up, so you can use Arduino to change the code. You can JS, Lua, and also you can send a text message to tell the logic. You don't need to program everything. You don't need to know all the details.
Okay, so this is the main board.
So that's a touch screen.
That's touch screen.
The main board is just on the back. No,
On the other side.
this is just touch screen.
I'm sorry. Yes,
That's
this
the
is a
main
touch screen. Okay, so this actually, even though this is the largest thing, it's actually just the screen.
Yep.
And so it's capacitive touch, so you can increase the brightness and
Yep.
sound. And then this is the main board. So this is where the processor is.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Oh, so there's on the back. There's a module. So this is the cell phone itself.
Yep, that's the cell phone.
Wow, so small. Okay, so this is a teeny little cell phone. And then what chipset's inside of it?
MediaTek.
Is it MT6260? 2620?
I need to
Okay,
double check
sorry.
with my engineer.
It's a common chipset that we've seen a
That's
lot.
right.
We sell SimCom modules, and they have a MediaTek.
Ladyada is a data sheet. She just stores all the data sheets in her head. Yeah, no.
Well, it's a $1 GSM chip that
Yeah.
it can do FM radio. It's kind of like nutty. And so then you can plug in your micro SIM here,
Yep.
and this is charging, I'm assuming. And then there's a little antenna. Hello.
Yeah, that's
and
good,
then
yeah.
a battery. Okay, so that's good. And then
That's audio.
and this is a speaker. Oh, okay. So then you plug in to this motherboard. It's a display, but it's still a motherboard, and you can plug in whatever. And then so this is a microphone over here, or no?
The speaker combines with a microphone.
Oh, sorry, speaker. Yeah, I was like, what is this dot? So
Oh,
then
it's
you
a
can
ribbon.
plug in. So you can plug in more modules
Yeah.
as you want here. So it looks like you can chain
That's
them.
right.
And then what modules do you have planned for?
We have plenty of them. We have NFC GPS ready, and we have accelerometers, sensor, open-door sensors. and we are planning to more like health sensors, like heart rate, pulse, or blood pressure, and some single eye display. So we just keep digging from the consumer electronics and see what we can make use of, like even for e-ink displays. So just keep exploring.
Yeah, it's fun to like, you get like a low cost, like I'll get like a low cost phone and you open it up and you're like, oh, it's an MT6260. And you're like, okay, well, if they were able to sell this on Taobao for like 21, like, it's like, okay, this just like, you can look at it and you're like, okay, this chip must be very low cost. And then you have to get in and get it. That's hard sometimes getting the chips because
that's the most difficult part.
Yeah.
Because you need a very
getting the real chip.
The real chip?
Yeah.
The chip for MediaTek are usually real, but it's very difficult to get them in small volumes. You have to buy very huge bulk, and you have to pay very expensive fee to get started the relationship. It's the same with in the industry. It used to be all for big boys, but now they are kind of opening up. So I think we are just helping them to bridge with very strong technologies with the maker community. And I think this is just a start, and we are the usher. We expect more people will be making modules, we will be doing similar things. But I think in all, we will be open source everything, so people can make their own creations easily.
Yeah, this is good that you're kind of educating a bigger company on the benefits of open source. They'll probably see more things with phones from a small group of people than they have with big companies for the last few years. So I got more. I'm just gonna.
Okay, more questions.
I'm gonna load up as many as I can. So we'll do same question with Massimo, and then we'll go to Eric. So beginner, they're just getting into Arduino. If you could just spend like $100 and just get like your favorite Arduino. I know they're all your favorite, but favorite Arduino and like a shield or a resource, like where would you point people to if you wanted to get a beginner going right away?
Well, I mean, if you're a beginner, I think it's always a good idea to start with something like an Arduino Uno because it's very robust, it's very simple, and also for around that kind of budget, you can get the starter kit.
Okay.
The Arduino starter kit, it's has already like 15 projects you can build.
Yeah. So you can plug
There's all the parts you might need also to build other projects. So in a way, it's kind of, there's lots of starter kits on the market really. But I think one of the interesting things is that we try to produce content that kind of takes you from the first project is an LED connected to the battery. There's no Arduino in there, and then you sort of progressively learn about everything, and that's. I think it's good for a beginner, and then it really depends on what kind of things people are interested in. Because if you get a motor shield, you can do all sorts of kind of robotic type things, or you can get a Wi-Fi shield or module of some kind and do like a connected product. Okay. So there's lots of different directions that you can take, and it depends on what you're passionate about.
Okay, Eric, your picks for beginners. What's your favorite beginner Arduino suggestions?
Because we have done a lot of modular systems, because I am a lazy engineer. So when people just got plug and make. So get rid of the circuit knowledges in the first place, just make something very quickly, and then go back to learn all the details.
Yeah. One of the things that we hear from students and educators and people, if they can't do something in the first 15 minutes, they just want to be able to do something to prove that it maybe wasn't a waste of time.
To build up the competencies.
Yeah. Okay, Ladyada and Tony, would you have any suggestions for favorite beginner things?
Definitely Arduino. I mean, that's the way.
Yeah, pick up an Arduino, a starter kit, and just like following some of the tutorials, and then we have like hundreds of tutorials on Learn. So find a project you want to build, because learning for its own sake is very difficult. But if there's a project that you're like, I want to build this wearable project, you will have something to look forward to.
Okay.
So I think that's an important part of learning.
All right. So the different person, I'll do the same thing. So advanced. So someone who's like they're really good at Arduino, they're doing electronics projects. What's something to tackle? Budget's no question.
Jeez.
All right.
Arduino car.
Well, for example, I guess a lot of people right now are very interested in all the connected products of different kind. So clearly, that's an interesting area to tackle because there's a little bit of back-end development, a little bit of device development.
Gotcha.
For example, if you look at the connected home at the moment, it is a chaos.
Yeah.
There's lots of different protocols that are incompatible. So one of the interesting things to do is to use, in a way, Arduinos with Wi-Fi connectivity, for example, to act as a glue between different things.
Yeah.
Maybe talk to the Hue bridge and make something happen, and then talk to another device and make something happen at the same time.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I got this canary camera,
Yeah.
and I wanted to make sure that when somebody walks into the room, the lights turn on
Yeah.
at the same time. Realized you cannot
Yeah.
really do it because they don't really have an API.
So
with
connected home.
In Arduino, you could bridge the system and kind of.
Okay. Eric, what do you got for
Yeah.
advanced projects?
Okay.
Money's no question.
Make a phone.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. But I think, like Massimo said, Arduino and open source is actually a language. So it's also a mindset that people feel that we can talk with each other, we can collaborate with each other. So if we are very advanced in knowing Arduino, so you can go. First direction is going to know more people, to collaborate with them. And from the beginning makers, you can become engineer direction, to know more all the details, to do the PCB, to redesign like very large scale, even FPGA things. And another for designers, you look at different user interfaces, user experiences to understand more problems and to use technicals to address that.
Okay, Lydia, do you got anything for the person they did all the tutorials on Adafruit? They're done. All 850, by the way. All 850, they're done.
I think one thing I would suggest now, especially because a lot of the single board computers run Linux, is definitely get more Linux skills, because if you can combine the real-time capabilities of an Arduino with just the computing power of something like a Raspberry Pi or a BeagleBone Black, that's where you can get a lot of power. So people will, they'll have a Linux operating system on like a BeagleBone and combine that with an Arduino with a motor shield, and now you can have a 3D printer, basically. That's what a lot of 3D printers use, is they have, the thing that does the slicing and the modeling on the BeagleBone Black, but when it actually comes time to like, okay, you have to step this motor, or you have to sense audio or temperature, you have to start bringing in something like an Arduino. So combining those two things is super powerful.
Okay.
Actually, can I add a 10-second thing to just?
Absolutely.
So if you're such an expert, and you then the best thing you can do for the rest of the world is to actually go to the Arduino.cc website, look at the contribute section, look for the Arduino source code, look at the issues that are open.
There's only 530 of them.
But from in the last 3 months, I think the Arduino team closed 400
issues. That's what's amazing. It's like, it used to be like ridiculous, and it's like I'm actually seeing them like all close. Like all these bugs are getting fixed, but there's always more.
What
So give back some of your expertise.
Somebody once said that you can improve the world if you basically take a stone out of the path where everybody walks.
Yeah.
And so just by taking that stone and removing it, you're making everybody's life easier. So the digital equivalent of that is to go to the GitHub repo, look for one of the issues, fix the issues, put a pull request in.
Yeah.
It's essentially you're removing a stone from everybody's path. You're making everybody's life
Tony
better.
DeCole is a saint, because he does a lot of that.
That's fair. You're an issue closer.
He's removed more stones than anyone I know here. All right. So there's a theme with some of these questions. So what's not open source right now? So now we have some of the luminaries. Is that the right term? Luminaries of open source. What's something that's not open source right now that you would like to see open source in more ways, or completely open source, or something that just isn't there yet that should be, Massimo?
Well, I guess there's a lot of work being done right now on, for example, on there's a bunch of open source processors you can put on an FPGA.
Okay.
So on one hand, clearly there should be more open FPGA development tools, so that people can, so that FPGAs become a tool that's more widely used.
Okay.
So that's an area where there's a lot of closed source
Processors.
stuff, but also, again, how do you make available open source processors that people can use. So
Gotcha.
there's a lot of cores that are completely free that are available on open cores. So I guess the design of the processor itself is not an issue. How do you get the silicon in the hands of people so that you could really truly create a device which is open source hardware from beginning to end?
Beginning to end. Okay, Eric, you got one that's not something that's not open source that you'd like to see open source?
It's not open source enough, which is manufacturing.
Manufacturing.
So
Okay.
the process, the know-how, or the knowledge and steps, they need to be open source, so the makers can follow up and get easily to climb up.
Okay. Ladyada, you got one?
I have a nitpick, which is for a lot of companies, is a company that makes a sensor. They never release any example code for their sensor. So like I have to write the Arduino library for every device. Like I'm the one, I'm writing all the
that's your
code.
job.
It would be really, really sweet if like the companies that design these sensors and modules and interfaces, they have a chip, they have a data sheet, write an Arduino library for it. I mean, that would help. Otherwise you have 50,000 customers and every customer is writing code for their PIC or their AVR or their MS-430 and it's kind of stupid. Like everyone's rewriting the code and I see Bosch kind of trying to do this, but there's 20 companies that make hundreds of sensors. It'd be so awesome if they just
So
made
Bosch
a
is
library.
starting on it. And then if all of us got together, maybe when we all meet sensor companies, we can ask them to make an Arduino library because they'll probably get more adoption.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Because otherwise, there's just a data sheet, and like you have to pick out what's going on in the lab. It's like, oh, this one has like this detail, and this one has a strange I2C thing.
Okay.
That'd be great if they
Okay,
just
I've got
could.
3
Yeah.
that are, I've got 3. So mine are a little different. So one is voting machines. So in the US, every year, and we're coming up to an election year, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. So voting machines. There's no reason that should be closed source. There's no reason. So voting machines, number 1. Number 2, I think maybe pharmaceuticals. So companies would compete on the manufacturing. So like if it helps humans, if it cures them, maybe we just compete on the making of it, not maybe the thing itself is more open. That one's a little harder because there's a lot of money in it. And then the last one is anything that beats people. So like Deep Blue, the chess computer, it still was like IBM still has it somewhere. If something like eventually computers get so good they beat us at everything, they're really good. It'd be nice if we could see how they did it. And so those are my 3, and I try to write articles about this once in a while. Like we should be able to run Deep Blue on our phones now. Like you should be able to make a little mini, one. Like there should be Arduino, Deep Blue Duino. Like it was from 25 years ago. We should be able to.
Yeah, your laptop is definitely fast enough.
Right? Like you'd think you'd be able to then play against the computer that beat the people for the first time. So those are the ones that I'd like to see. I remember when I first started writing at Make, there was only 11 open source hardware projects. And I'm like,
yeah, you did the year of open source hardware. You'd actually publish all of them.
I did the article. Here's the open source thing that's it. Now you can't even keep track of it. Now there's tens of thousands, and there's varying degrees of open source. Everyone seems to be trying their best. Once in a while there's things that aren't open source, but they're the same thing for code. Code sometimes it's whatever, and there's like internet debates, which is fun. But those are my 3. So that's pretty much it for the night.
That's the show.
But we're gonna give away an Arduino.
Arduino Uno.
We're gonna give away our Arduino
Made
Uno that
by
Massimo's gonna sign. So, Lady, what are the rules for the trivia question?
Rules are if you've won a prize from the show, you can't win again. Only one winner per my lifetime. The first person to answer the question the way Phil wants to see it, either the YouTube or Ustream chat, is the winner. Again, if you've won, sit on your hands and don't enter. The prize today is an Arduino Uno signed by Massimo.
All right, and Eric, is there anything that Seed can contribute for a prize that's not a genuine?
Yeah, we can give away one of the Refone Creator Kit.
Okay.
Ooh, so when it comes out, you'll get a Refone Creator Kit.
Okay. All right.
It's a cool prize.
The trivia question is going to be pretty easy.
Okay.
This week.
So it's a speed question.
It's a speed question. So whoever I see in the YouTube or the Ustream or in all those places, what is the name of the Kickstarter phone that Seed's doing?
Don't say you guys can't enter.
First person to type
What's
in
the
chat.
name of their Kickstarter project?
Yeah. And
You saw the video.
Scotty D369, congratulations, Scotty. And now
He's fast.
Yeah, he's good. He was actually on the show and tell. The fellow with the EL wire thing.
He won.
He won. So he stuck around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
All right, congratulations, Scotty D369.
You're the winner.
You get an Arduino signed, and then later on, when he heard the question on Periscope. Okay, so now that's funny. So they did it on Periscope.
That's a good because Periscope's faster
He's
than
watching
YouTube.
it in 3 different places.
Oh.
That's a super fan. And actually, he was a super fan for you.
Yeah.
He deserves you're his hero.
He earned this one.
He earned it.
All right, congratulations, Scott. You did a good job. All right, well, that's it for tonight. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Massimo. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Wong.
Thank you, everybody.
Claudia.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so
Claudia,
everyone should stay
Tony.
tuned to seed.com, seedstudio.com with 3s, arduino.cc, Kickstarter. Any place else that people should be keeping their eyes and ears open for? There's a Maker Faire coming up that you're going to be in. Which one?
Maker Faire New York.
Yeah, that's Saturday. And then what's
Saturday
after
around 1 or 1:30.
Go to his talk.
that? Okay.
Give a talk.
And then what's the next event you're going to after that?
I'm trying to. I guess the next big event is Maker Faire in Rome.
Okay.
When is that?
It's 16th to the 18th of October.
Okay, that's soon.
And then what event? What are you going to be
Of course, Maker Faire New York, and
Yeah.
we're going to give a talk Saturday afternoon.
in? Okay.
And we're going to Maker Faire Berlin, and of
Oh,
course
great.
Maker Faire Rome.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you guys are getting around.
Okay, wow.
Okay.
Well, we're here.
Yeah. We'll be tuning in that one remotely, but
Okay, we're not going to go to Rome.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Okay.
That was a show.
Bye.
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 All right. We have to show a picture of a cat. So we.